Hello there, Artistic Gamer 7, and welcome back to another speed build here on the channel. This is sort of my second time recording this voiceover because I got almost all the way through and decided that I didn't actually like how the voiceover was turning out. I was like, there's a lot of things I should have mentioned already, there's a lot of things that I drug out longer than I needed to, so on and so forth. So I'm recording this again because I wasn't happy the first time, even though I hadn't even listened to the recording. Who knows, it may have not actually been that bad, but too late now, I'm starting over. So welcome back to another speed build. No, it's been a while, with the greenhouses and stuff, it's been pretty hard to actually, get builds going. I have 3 builds working on. Currently this is one of them, and even though I'm showing you this video, technically it is an ongoing build, an ongoing process, but you will not be seeing speed build videos past this point. To see where this house goes and how it evolves and changes, you will have to go and catch my Female Legacy Gaming Challenge. Basically, I created a Legacy Challenge on my own. For all I know, someone did a slightly similar idea to this. Just to sort of quickly run down sort of what's going on without going into too many details, I basically went through and chose a bunch of video games that I really liked. I took, like, my favorite, or, you know, like, the more main known female character from that game, and try to base a Sims role, in a way, in a sense, if that makes sense, based off of that character. I also had a few characters that I did more than 10, and I sort of started figuring them out. But I personally decided to fit these 10 this way because I thought it fit more suitable, like, for a story progression sense anyway, because of, like, the aspirations and the different challenges you have to do for the different Sims. It just sort of seemed like those 10 would have flowed better. And I didn't do them in any order of whether I liked them first or not, because if that was true, Zelda from Legend of Zelda would have been number 1. She is not. You will have to stay tuned and watch the challenge as it goes on to see exactly where Zelda lands. But the first one is actually Velvet, based off of Tales of Berseria, which is actually a game that I've been playing here on the channel. I will try to remember to include a link to the Tales of Berseria playlist. It is getting towards the end of that. I feel like I've been saying that for a bit, but I'm pretty sure I'm getting the vibes that it actually is getting towards the end finally. I keep getting distracted by side quests and stuff like that, so I feel like I'm dragging out Tales of Berseria longer than I really had to, but I just like getting that extra lore and that extra story that comes with a lot of the side quests. And there's a few side quests that I'm super glad that I did and didn't pass up on them, so oh well. If it's drawn out a little bit longer than it should be, oh well. But yeah, so the first generation is based off of her. I am going to be naming the characters after the different females that they are based off of, but I'm not necessarily going to be trying to get them to look like them. Velvet is probably going to be the only one that looks like the Sim that she is, like, the character she's based off of. That's because I created her myself. The rest of the generations are, you know, they're going to depend on what the father looks like and so on and so forth, on whether or not what they're going to look like. I'm not going to try to make them look identical to the characters they're based off of. It is more so taking that character's story and trying to twist it in a way to make it a generational challenge. So that's what I did, and I'm looking so much forward to it. I actually, after I built this build, which was sort of a stupid thing on my part, and I'll get to that here in a moment, but I went straight into recording it, even though I knew that it was going to be a few weeks or more before I could post it, because I wanted to wait before the Fame Trio ended to post this challenge. And it was going to be taking Fame Trio's place. Fame Trio is actually 100% ending. Episode 45 is the last one, and I just posted episode 44 literally yesterday. So the last episode is going up next week. It should be technically the day before this video is posted, so if you were watching Fame Trio, go check out yesterday's video, because it's the last one. It's the sort of the finale of the series. I think I'll probably do an update video on them eventually, but otherwise that is the last Fame Trio episode, and this challenge will be taking its place. I will be including the rules to this challenge in the description of the actual challenge videos. So as soon as the challenge gets posted, I will be adding the generations as time goes on. So when the second gen starts getting close to time to be played in my series, I will add Generation 2's rules right before, we start getting on to Generation 2, so on and so forth. So that, if you want to give it a try and you want to try to play along with me, you can feel free to do so. I had a lot of fun making this challenge, and I'm looking forward to trying to play it, because obviously one of the things with some of these legacy challenges that it does give you a bit of a challenge to the game. It gives you certain goals. It helps you try things that maybe you wouldn't normally try, or do a different type of play style than you normally would. See parts of the game that you normally don't see, or maybe you haven't seen at all. But also, with a lot of the legacy challenge that I've seen, that I've read and stuff like that, there's still enough wiggle room that, yeah, you have a guideline, you have certain things that you're supposed to do, certain times that maybe your sim is supposed to marry, maybe a certain number of kids. But at the same time, you can make stories around these challenges and make them sort of an individual story that you're telling with this challenge in mind. And as I was making this challenge, like I was saying before, I actually put them in a certain order because I thought it flowed better, but also, I was thinking of personal stories on how I would do it and how I would play it off. So I'm really looking forward to playing this challenge and sharing it with y'all. I hope everyone enjoys this challenge and actually really likes it. I know I'm super looking forward to it, and I know eventually this house will look better than this, but as I was stating earlier, I was a little foolish and jumped the gun, not only because it was going to be a while before I could actually post the videos, but the other thing was I don't have any screenshots of this build when I finished it to the point of the video. And yes, I could go back and take screenshots of it, but the thing is, I've actually changed some stuff in the build and around the build on the outside and stuff already as I've been playing the challenge, and I don't want to spoil some of those things or show some of those things. I want you to be able to experience why those changes were made and how the build came along as the video in the series progresses. So I didn't think about that when I was just yeah, I want to go jump straight into playing this. I was just too excited to give it a go and try to play it that I didn't think about actually taking the screenshots for it, because I went and looked back and I was do I have any screenshots? Any? And I don't have a single one. All the ones that there is of the house is from when I was taking the series, and they have parts of the house that have already started changing for the most part, or they don't show the house enough itself because it's zoomed in on the sim, or sims. So therefore, I have no screenshots. I do technically include 3 screenshots at the end here that actually has the sim that is going to be used for the starting of this challenge. Technically, that could be a little sneak peek, because I haven't looked at the schedule and seen exactly how that's going to fall and work out. I either am going to be putting the Create a Sim video of the sim for this challenge up the Monday before this video or the Monday after this video, depending on how things look like they're going to fall and how editing and different stuff like that comes along. So, I'm not sure which one's going to be showing first just yet, the Create a Sim or the build. I partially think the Create a Sim is going to be shown first before the build, but it may not. But either way, if the build comes before the Create a Sim, I will have a link to the Create a Sim in the build, and if the Create a Sim becomes before the build, I will have a link to the build in the Create a Sim. I eventually will hopefully remember to put the link to both of them, each other, in the descriptions, and I'll update that. But sometimes my brain forgets things. Actually, a lot of times my brain forgets things. The fact that I am just turning 28 this year and I forget things as easily as I do has sort of concerned me. But, oh well, I'll just make do with what I can, work with this brain that I've been given, and try my best. But yeah, I might forget, but, feel free to remind me if you go in the description and you notice that there's not a link to one another. I also will be including a link to the challenge playlist once the challenge gets up and going. So if I forget any of those links in any of these videos, feel free to remind me, yell at me down in the comments, be like, hey, idiot, you forgot the links in the description. Oh yeah, that's right, I'm dumb, sorry, forgot. Like, feel free to do so, because I probs will forget at least one of them. And it'll probably be something like I go and add the challenge video playlist on the build and forget to put it on the creative sim when I could have done that on the exact same day. So, probably be something stupid like that. But anyway, I will be posting this build up on the gallery, but it will be, with the way that I'm doing this one, I'm going to actually post it after this gen is done. Basically, the house is going to be done with the gen. That's sort of how I'm going to treat a lot of my legacies if I ever do any other legacy challenges. Well, obviously right now I'm doing the Not So Berry challenge already. If you have not seen my Not So Berry challenge, I will have a link down in the description below for it, if I remember that one else well. If not, it is one of the newest playlists created, so it should be really easy to find. Even with that one, with each gen, I think, like, once they move out, I will have their houses, like, slowly morphing and changing and such, and I will upload those. Now, I will say, with the Not So Berry challenge, I actually did a starter home for that one, a mint starter, that was CC free. But as I'm playing the game, I play my games with CC in them, so as I'm editing the house and changing the house, there is CC, there's custom content in those houses. So I will still be re-uploading them, so the mint house will be re-uploaded once I'm done with the mint gen and Rose moves out, and I no longer really will be in the mint house and into the point where I'm changing the house around. So I will upload it, but it will be behind that custom content thing, so you'll have to click include custom content. And obviously, if you don't have that said custom content, it will either be replaced by something in the game, or it will just remove it and you can replace it with some of your own custom content or other stuff. But if you just like the layout of it, or you think you have some of the CC, so you want to try downloading it anyway, I do at least want to include that as an option. Now with this house, I actually started using CC, so same thing. If you want to download it for the layout, or you think you have some of the CC in there that I'm using, you can feel free to download it and stuff like that so that you can actually see and play with it and such. Now with CC, I think I've mentioned this before, but feel free to ever be like, hey, where did you get that sofa? And you can even give me like a timestamp in the video so I know exactly which CC item you are referring to. And I can actually try to help and direct you on where to find that particular item. It is a lot easier for me to figure out where I got one particular item, or like a few particular items, than trying to figure out every single CC I used in the house. Now, if over time everyone asks me for every single CC in the house and I'm able to find them, oh well, sure. But I have an extensive CC folder, and I do have it sort of organized. And by sort of organized, I mean things like mods, like MCC has its own folder, obviously. I have a folder that's just for, like, the special events, because I have, like, events, like a mod that gives me extra events on it. I have a folder just for it. There are certain, like, things like that, and when it comes, like, I have a separate folder for poses, for, like, you know, the pose player and stuff like that. I have a separate folder for that, and at one point I was doing a separate one for skins, but I stopped doing that pretty quickly. Sort of wish I wouldn't have, because it would have been a little bit more organized. But when it comes to the cast and the build CC, the way it's separated is by date. So basically, the date I download it, I make a folder for that date, I put it in there, so that when I add CC in it, I could be like, oh, my CC was working up to the certain point, and let's say I've downloaded 2 days worth of CC, whether it was 2 days. Sometimes I do that. I download CC one day, I don't get to play Sims for a while, and then I end up downloading more CC. So I got 2 days of CC that I haven't tried. But if my game's not working properly or something's acting odd, I at least have it narrowed down to those 2 folders, because I'm like, okay, I last played Sims on this date. These are the only 2 folders that are after this date. So obviously the issue is in one of these folders. So it's still really helpful, and also, like, you know, I could, when I'm sorting through CC, I can take a lot of the folders out and add them by dates or by months or whatever. So it still is really helpful, but at the same time, I have so much CC, because I don't technically delete CC just because of how old it is. I delete it because it's not working anymore, I don't like the look of it, or I just don't use it enough, so I clear out that space. But I don't go by on how old it is, because technically I have some old CC that still works just perfectly fine. Or like batch fixes have fixed it over the years. So I still have CC folders. Granted, the older CC folders are smaller because over time a lot of that CC does get deleted out because I stopped using it as much. Or I've changed the style of CC that I've sort of liked over the years, so on and so forth. But yeah, those folders are a little bit lighter, but I still have some from, like, not too long after the game came out. So it's really hard for me to go through and be like, let me find every single CC item that I used for this build. But if I know what particular item someone's wanting, I could easily, actually probably find it a little bit easier to find one particular item versus every single item. So definitely feel free to ask if you ever see any CC in any of my videos and you want it for your own game. Definitely feel free to ask, and I will try my hardest to figure out where I got it from. And if I can figure out even the direct link, I will give you the direct link. Definitely feel free to ask. As far as this build, there is CC in it. I don't know how much CC, because it doesn't have a whole lot going on for it anyway, because it's, you know, I was going on limited money. I didn't do like a starter house money, but I still didn't give myself a whole lot of money. I wanted to have a little bit of struggle here in the beginning of this challenge. But I still hope you like the build so far, and looking to see how it changes and molds as that challenge goes on. I hope you're looking forward to the challenge as well. I am super excited to do it. I am looking so forward to getting this challenge underway. Get going, because I'm ready to go on it. Like, obviously I've already said I already started playing some of it, but I stopped myself for a while there because I still wasn't exactly sure how long it was before the videos could be starting to post it. But now it is like to the point where I'm like, they're gonna be start posted like very, very soon. I can actually get back to recording it. I am like so excited to do it, and I hope you're excited to see where this challenge goes, see all the characters that these people are based off of, see the different challenges and stuff that's in it as well. And I hope you like this video. If so, hit that lovely like button, subscribe, you know, all that lovely YouTube goodiness, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!